So, welcome back to the Canada Specialist Program series. This is our last update of the year. Woo, it's been a busy year. I hope you've enjoyed those of you who have been to other updates. Hope you've enjoyed them. Thank you so much for joining us today or for any of the other updates. There will be a survey at the end, so we'd love to have some feedback from you as Adam and I start to plan. We're planning the 2025 series. Sadly, Adam can't be with us today, but I will bring in our lovely panel now. So, Holly and Andy, please join me. We'll get them in. So, two
Hello.
more updates. Hello. Hello to you both. How you doing? We'll say hello to Andy first. As you can see, Andy is going first today. Andy from Cruise Canada. And Andy is local. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right now. The tables have turned, Charlie, a little bit. So this is obviously for myself and all of the guys on here today, sort of decent time, mid-afternoon, late afternoon here in the UK, as opposed to doing the Australian ones in the middle of the night. But yeah, lovely to be back again and to now talk to some UK agents as well.
Yeah, good to have you, Andy. Yes, we're all on different time zones, but that the power of the internet, this is this is what we love about this series. We just bring everyone together. And of course, that is why we do 4 p.m. UK time to accommodate our Canadian presenters as well, because it's varying times of day. Although not too bad for you, Holly. It's what, 11 o'clock in Ontario at the moment. So, Holly, how are you doing today?
Wonderful and welcome and hello, big hello to everyone in UK. I'm thrilled to be here and to introduce a very special place in our backyard.
And Holly, do you have snow in Ontario? As many people have snow right now.
Oh, I wish I had the UK snow, not yet. It's kind of holding its own and we'll see what happens the next few weeks. But we do have the major Santa Claus parade happening in Toronto this weekend, so we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, of course. Everybody heading into the festive season, like we said, this is the last update of the year. Adam sends his regards, but he couldn't be with us today. But there will be follow-up. There will be some surveys and things on all of the Canada Specialist Program activities, whether that's the webinars, whether that's the online program. So lots of opportunities to send your feedback to Adam, like I said, for 2025 planning. But we will get into today's updates. So, Holly, we're going to say goodbye to you temporarily because, as you can see, Andy is going first. So, thanks, Holly. We will see you in a little while. We're online for about half an hour plus some live Q&A. So, short and sweet. But we are looking good. So, once again, welcome back to the Canada Specialist Program series. Our final updates of 2024. Would like to introduce Andy from Cruise Canada. Andy, over to you.
Thank you, Charlie. Hi, everyone. Hopefully, I've met some of you in dealings with the UK agents. So yeah, lovely to be here again, and thank you for joining us. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Cruise Canada. We are North America's largest RV rental company, with over 4,000 vehicles, or nearly 5,000 vehicles. Apologies, if you include the US as well. And we've got over 40 locations with the 5 depots also in Canada, in Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax, as you can see there. You can do one ways between any of the locations within Canada, likewise in the US. Customers can take the vehicles across the border. That's absolutely fine as well. So we see a lot of Cruise Canada vehicles down in the US and vice versa. The only thing you can't do is a one way between the two countries. So you couldn't pick up in Calgary and drop off in Seattle or anything like that. But as I said, yeah, customers are very welcome to take vehicles between the two countries with ease. So even with the huge fleet numbers that we have, we keep it really simple with the vehicles. We've only got 3 types, which is small, medium, and large. And we'll get into the individual vehicles shortly. But they're all very, very similar inside. Obviously, just a different layout depending on the size and things, but all the same facilities. So really, depending on how many people traveling would really sort of dictate what size vehicle you look for. Most importantly, no special license is required at all to drive any of our vehicles. Just a normal UK driving license is absolutely fine. Minimum age is 21. So on the license as well, we don't ask for a particular amount of time that you've had to have passed. So in theory, somebody could take the test tomorrow and pick up the C30 at the weekend if they really wanted to. So yeah, no amount of time required beforehand. So yeah, minimum age 21. We don't charge a surcharge for under 25s either, like a lot of car hire companies tend to do. So it can be cheaper for people under 25 to rent a motorhome sometimes. And on the flip side of that, we have no operator limit as well. So if somebody's in their 80s or 90s even, as long as they're comfortable driving and they've got a valid driving license, then they're welcome to drive with us. So quite often you can get multiple generations of the same family driving the vehicles. We don't charge for additional drivers either. Insurances are all included as standard in the rate as well. Okay, so customers aren't going to get presented with different packages with regards to insurance costs or anything when they pick up the vehicle, and that's all just included as standard. So we have our own production line with Ford, who build the chassis for the vehicles before we have them fitted out. So they all come fitted with toilet, fridge, freezer, microwave, shower, hob, basically everything you need really to be self-contained while the customers are traveling around in Canada. So let's have a look at the vehicles first then. So this is the smallest, the C21. So 21, the numbers are the approximate length in feet, okay, to give you some idea. So it's about 20 feet long. All vehicles are the same height as each other. So this is slightly narrower than the larger two, which we'll look at shortly. So this is probably a little bit more European, I guess, and maybe what you might see more on the roads in the UK. It's narrower, so it does fit into a normal car parking space. So this is good for two adults, really. It sleeps up to four, but I'd say comfortably for two adults with the double bed at the back, which is the sort of dinette during the day and then converts to a bed at night. The C25, so 25-foot long, this is the most popular vehicle in the fleet, mostly because it kind of caters to the more people, I guess, really. So you can have two adults who just want more space, or just want a fixed bed at the back of the vehicle, so they don't have to convert that. As you can see in the bottom right-hand image there, that's a fixed in position. Or if there's a young family, maybe a couple of young children, then the C25 is a great choice with the double bed over the front as well. And then finally, the C30 is our largest motorhome. Same height and width as the 25, but with that extra sort of 5 feet in length, it does mean that we can convert the back almost to like a bedroom where you can close the door and you can walk around the bed, as you can see in that bottom right image there. So this is good if you get maybe 4 adults traveling, 5 adults, especially if they want a bit more privacy, or if you've got a family with maybe teenagers who don't want to share a double bed. So this has 3 doubles and a single to sleep up to 7. They drive very, very similar, the 25 and the 30. So my advice is always go for the vehicle that the customers are looking for. They would appreciate the extra space, especially if they're on a 2 or 3 week trip across Canada. That space is very useful. So yeah, this is our largest. Obviously, bear in mind that in North America in general, even though this is our largest, this is still considered fairly medium sized compared to some of the 40, 50-foot vehicles that are towing cars behind them and everything that you might see on the road in the US and Canada. So yeah, still quite a medium-sized motorhome by North American standards. So just some of the optional extras that you can add on when you make reservations for Cruise Canada. So we've got the personal kits. So that's the bedding, towels, pillows, that comes per person. You've got the vehicle kit, which is all your cutlery, pots and pans and saucepans and things. We then had on the mileage. So it comes in 100 Ks or 500 Ks in Canada or unlimited kilometers. My general advice is about 3,000 Ks is the kind of benchmark for whether you take unlimited or not, or maybe over sort of 2.5 to 3 weeks, then I'd sort of suggest the unlimited mileage might be a better option for them. There is a generator on the largest vehicle in Canada, the C30. It is there, it's good to have it, but it's not something that customers need to rely on all the time at all. So it's just there as an extra backup source. Early bird departure special, so EBDS. So normal pickup is between 1 and 4 and return is by 11. So a bit like a hotel check-in hours. The early bird means that you can pick up before noon and drop off by 3. which might work better with flights back to the UK, the overnight flights coming back to the UK on their last day. And it also includes the private transfers to and from the depot, usually to downtown and airport areas. And one way, there's always a one-way fee as well. So it ranges between $350 to $1,000, depending on the routing. Just so you know, then customers obviously out on the road doing their own trip. It's fully independent travel, but I just want to point out that there is a team behind them that can assist them with any questions they might have whilst they're out on the road. It's a free phone number. It's manned 24 hours, 7 days a week. The guys that answer the phone are technically trained on the vehicles. So really, there isn't anything they don't know about them. So if customers aren't sure about how something works, or literally anything they want to ask, they can just ring up and the travel assistance team will be there to help them. So it's just peace of mind knowing that once they're out on the road, especially if it's their first time they've done it, there's always somebody on the other end of the phone that can help them. Good reasons to book motorhomes. It can be in a very affordable way of traveling. Bear in mind it's your accommodation and your transportation together. Okay, so compared to some other forms of travel, the freedom and the flexibility is kind of one of the big points of it. Really, you're not on a fixed route. You're not necessarily booked all the campground nights that you're going to stay at, so you can just kind of decide as and when you go. You know, I've done this quite a few times, and sometimes we turn up at a campground and really enjoy it, and then go back to the office and say, look, can we stay another night? And you know, the $30-40 for the night, and then spend another night there. You know, so it's having that freedom and flexibility is amazing. The practical benefits, especially on the larger two vehicles, there is loads of external storage. So once you've unpacked, especially if you've got children, unpacked all their clothes, put them away, put the suitcases underneath the vehicle, you don't see them again for the rest of the trip. So that's a great kind of bonus that you're not having to unpack and pack every day, maybe as if you're in a sort of a hotel surrounding. So yeah, great sort of practical benefits. Also nice to eat food that you would eat at home as well. You know, most campgrounds have picnic tables. You've got the grill, the hob on the vehicle. You've also very often got a barbecue and a fire pit at the campground as well that you can cook on. So go to Walmart, do a week shopping, and then basically go out and eat, you know, the food that you would eat at the campground by having a barbecue. So yeah, great way to spend time with your family and friends and loved ones, just kind of relaxing after a full day of exploration. And also just being outdoors is, you know, good for all of us, really. So I'll just feature some of our campground partners here that you can see. KOA, predominantly US based, but they do have some in Canada as well. So they get a 10% discount with basically just the keys, the set of RV keys that the customers will have. That gives them a 10% discount at all of the KOAs across North America. There's many options. There's features on there. Disney and Las Vegas have got campgrounds in the parks in Florida and Nevada. The national state parks, the provincial parks in Canada are amazing, and we'll touch on those in a minute as well. But fantastic locations, and you're in the parks when other people aren't. You know, this is the beauty of staying in the national parks, is you get to see it at different times of the day when maybe other people have left. So yeah, it's a wonderful experience to stay in the provincial and state and national parks. Plenty of opportunities to wild camp as well in Canada. There's millions of acres of crown land, it's called, in Canada, which is sort of federally owned. Each province has their own slightly different rules on it, but fundamentally it is go out and free camp and wild camp as you wish. Obviously, you have to make sure you're quite self-contained, but do look at that as an option for people who are, you know, comfortable doing that. And then finally, Harvest Hosts are membership organization, so you pay one membership for the year. It's about, they get 20% discount on cruise, so it's about $75, and then they get access to unlimited stays at wineries, vineyards, breweries, organic farms. There's loads across Canada, especially in places like BC and Ontario as well. We talked about the national parks, so Jasper, Banff have got amazing campgrounds. The reality is you do need to pre-book these in the summer. Just a note on Jasper, as I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the terrible fire that's had this summer. The campgrounds are still open. So Whistler's campground, which is the largest in Canada, is open and accepting bookings for next year. Algonquin's got 5 campgrounds as well, but again, pre-book these in the summer months for traveling there, because it is a busy time to go. And then finally, the tour book. Please go on FlexRate and download the tour book. Full of over 35 sample itineraries. You can send them the whole book if you want. It's 60 pages, or you can just download each individual itinerary. So as we've got Holly from Ontario with us today, so here's our classic Ontario circle tour. So in and out of Toronto, 11 days, about 1,000 miles, just over 100 miles a day. And then featuring some amazing locations in Ontario, and with links to all our favourite campgrounds, what to see each day, how many kilometres it is to drive. So this is just a snapshot of what all of the itineraries look like. So there are only suggestions, so of course customers can make their own plans, but these are really, really good way to help customers understand like what's possible and what sites to see, and then they can start building their own itinerary around these suggested itineraries. Ultimately, everybody's trip is unique. But these are just a really good way to kind of get people going in the right direction and help them understand what's possible. So yeah, as Charlie said, I'm based in the UK, so on the same time zone as you guys. So please feel free always to reach out to me if you have any questions about anything. I talk to a lot of agents most days, helping them out. So yeah, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. I'm always here to help you. And yeah, thank you very much for your time, and take any questions at the end.
Nice one. Thank you. Super helpful. Love all those resources, those itineraries that you've got. And that does perfectly segue us into our next update with Holly from Ontario's Highlands. So thank you, Andy. We will